Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of GodSaw's Turnbuckle, the wrestling video podcast I run here on youtube.com/UC Campbell. And this episode of GodSaw's Turnbuckle is going to be focusing around Smackdown Live for November 14th, 2017. This is of course the go-home show going into the Survivor Series pay-per-view. And this was a rather good show. It started off with let's be completely honest with you. It started off with a bunch of promos right off the bat, and it started off with some rather interesting ways of doing it. You had Shane McMahon basically pep talking everybody backstage about what Raw is going to do. Are they going to try to invade everything in that sense? You get promos from like Becky Lynch and from Baron Corbin in this one, like hyping up how much they're behind SmackDown on this sense, and like Corbin's only behind him because he gets to beat up the Miz and everything to go along with it. Some decent stuff here. So a little bit cheesy, but some decent stuff. We'll go with that. So this does bring out Daniel Bryan. He starts off the show in the terms of the in arena. This started off backstage. I'm going to fix that a little bit. Is it better? I feel like that's better. I know we're fixing the camera midway through. Or right at the beginning to go along with it. We've already started. Live, people. Guys, what happens when you go live? But yeah. Overall, decent enough segment backstage. They start off out in the arena area with Daniel Bryan making his return, starting to, talk about what had happened with Kane, everything in that sense. And then he eventually brings out AJ Styles, the new WWE champion. Brings him out, and he starts going down the whole aspect of, it looked like AJ Styles was going to cut a promo, but then Daniel Bryan kind of stops and says, you know what? Brock Lesnar gets to have an advocate. So for one night only, you're going to have me as your advocate. And Daniel Bryan goes out and basically just cuts I won't say a scathing promo, but a really good promo about everything on like AJ Styles and Brock Lesnar, even to the point of calling Brock Lesnar a quitter at one point in time. He even makes mention to him tapping out in the UFC at one point, leaving the WWE at another, all that kind of stuff to go along with it. And then AJ Styles gets on the microphone and starts talking for himself. And I like how AJ Styles is like, so unlike Brock, I can talk for myself. I'm not just a puppet. Which is what he calls him. He basically calls him a puppet. Calls himself the underdog and says he wouldn't have it any other way. Good promo. Good promo to start off this show here and setting up and hyping up this match just a little bit more, making it a little bit more interesting. I'll be very interested to see how they book this match. Is it going to be one of those senses of Brock Lesnar not caring too much and he just kind of wants to do suplex, and he's out the door? Or is this going to be something where they go a little bit further with this one? And I'm kind of hoping that it leads more towards it's further than, or it's more than just like suplexes, and maybe AJ Styles gets some offense in and then Brock Lesnar wins. I feel like Brock Lesnar wins the match, but I feel like this is going to, I'm kind of hoping this is going to be one of those matches that there's more to it than just the typical stuff you see from Brock recently. Backstage, before they go back out to the arena, you have Jinder Mahal basically running in the AJ Styles. Jinder Mahal basically saying that Brock Lesnar, after Brock Lesnar beats you, he's not the only one you got to worry about losing to. In that sense, I think he kind of loses what he was going to say in some structure there. It gets a little bit weird, but basically says he's not finished with him and that he's going to get his title back. Everything in that sense. So this finally leads us to the first match of the night, which was Baron Corbin going up against Sin Cara for the U.S. title. This was a good match. This was just a rather good match. They kept a faster pace than I thought they were going to keep in this match. Both Baron Corbin and Sin Cara did. Sin Cara, you expect kind of a faster pace with Hunico and everything in that sense. The person who plays Sin Cara does typically do a faster pace and does, of course, well, and plays off the lucha and everything to go along with it. But I was more surprised that Baron Corbin was able to really keep up with it and did a really good job in this match. I thought this was a rather enjoyable match. I also like this aspect of how they actually made Sin Cara look rather strong in this match, which is something they typically don't do with the Sin Cara character. They've been booking him strong, and they've been making him look strong. Yes, he doesn't get the victory here, and I do like how the End of Days is almost like the RKO in this sense. Is that with the End of Days, a person's momentum can lead them right into the move. So it can almost come out of nowhere. Just like the cutter. It can come out of nowhere to go along with it. So it's one of those bits is like, when does the match end? And it's like, boom, it can happen just like in a flash like that. And it was a really good match. I thought this was a rather enjoyable match. Baron Corbin going over is the right way of going, especially with the way they've been building this match. There was no reason to change the belt on this one in any way. I'm glad that they decided not to do it. And yes, they are sticking with a heel versus heel here, but this is a heel versus heel match that, you know, it's weird because it's actually intriguing. The promos that they've been cutting on each other, everything in that sense, have been good, and it makes for an intriguing match. So it's one of those few times that I can kind of get into a heel versus heel style match. So yeah. So up next, you had a backstage segment with Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon, basically continuing building the tension between the two of them. Daniel Bryan's still not happy about how things were handled, how they invaded Raw, everything in that sense, not being told about it to begin with. There's a lot of glare there. Now, I'm going to have to live with that glare. I'm just going to have to live with it at this point. I mean, just in general. But in the end, it's like, we'll wait until after Survivor Series. Let's get past all of this. Like, well, let's talk about... And you even have Shane kind of go like, let's talk about it now. And it's like, Daniel's like, no, not now. Not now. A little bit later. A little bit later on, and yeah, after Survivor Series, we're going to discuss this whole thing. So, again, leading more tension between Shane and Daniel for down the line here. So this actually brings us into the women's title match. Yeah, it actually does. It leads us right into the women's title match with Natalya and Charlotte. Man, this is a good match. This is a very good match. Probably one of the better matches you would see on TV this year. This was rather enjoyable. Both of them working pretty quick pace, hard hitting pace too. That's why that's what I liked about the match. It just felt like it was a very hard hitting match that just it kept going, like swings in the momentum throughout the entire match. The spot that they had on the outside with Charlotte looking like she was going to do a moonsault off the barricade, but Natalya grabs her for a powerbomb and then runs her, like power bombs her into the ring apron and just drops her to the ground. Made you feel like it's like, whoa, that's the end of the match right there. And actually, the end of the match does come fairly quickly afterwards because Charlotte was able to get herself out of the sharpshooter. She knocks Natalya out of the ring after she's trying to go for another one, and then Natalya gets back in, runs right into the big boot, and then into the figure eight. And Charlotte picks up the victory and picks up the women's title. So now it's going to be Charlotte versus Alexa Bliss. Here's the thing. I think they were going to go for Charlotte versus Alexa no matter what. But it was so hard not to think it's like, okay, they're in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's Flair country. It's everything in that sense. This would be a perfect time, and it literally would have been a perfect time for Carmella to cash in that Money in the Bank contract, because she would have gotten massive heat for doing it. After the match, Charlotte cuts a promo about, everything that had been going on, winning the women's title, and like even talks about her father saying, oh, he couldn't be in the arena, and they played off of that through there. And as she goes to leave, all of a sudden, Ric Flair's music hits, and there's the Nature Boy. He does show up and comes out there. They have that kind of the thing that you hadn't seen between the two of them in the terms of an on-screen side, which was the embrace of like Ric Flair showing how proud he is of Charlotte for what she's been doing, everything in that sense. So we finally kind of got that on air side of it that they probably have always done backstage, but this time we got it on air because Charlotte runs up, embraces them, everything in that sense. It was a very good moment. I did rather enjoy it, but again, like I said, if they really wanted to put massive heat on Carmella, they would have done the cash in right then and there. They really would have. But they decided not to go with it because, like I said, I felt like they were going for more of a babyface versus heel side of everything going into Survivor Series. So they wanted Charlotte to just keep the title here, and she goes up against Alexa Bliss. And I think they posted something. It's like, oh, like Alexa says something about, it's like, oh, well, now I get a chance to beat the final four horsewomen of the four horsewomen, because she had never faced Charlotte or never beaten her before. So now she has that opportunity to go along with that. So they could probably play that as a storyline too. Next was another Bludgeon Brothers promo, basically standard fare, and they said that they were going to be there next week. This will be interesting to see what they decide to do with them. I hope it's not just like straight into a program. It's one of those bits like I kind of hope this is just jobber matches for a little bit for both of these guys with Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. This one could be interesting, and it could work. I'm gonna give this one a chance because I like Luke Harper. And Eric Rowan's been fairly good in the ring. Luke Harper's always been good in the ring and on the mic. So I'm going to give this one a chance, but I am very wary about this one. Up next was Chad Gable going up against Jimmy Uso. So just one-on-one match. They're playing off that Jey Uso's still injured from the week before, which I think I got that flip-flop last week. I thought it was Jimmy, but I think it was Jay who got who they were playing off the chop block injury from the week before. And this was actually a good match between the two of them. You had Chad Gable basically working the heel throughout the entire match. He was working over Jimmy Uso's leg, trying to set for, like, I guess a submission finish or something in that sense. And I did fail to mention the promo beforehand as well with the Usos, which was a good promo. Basically calling Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin and American Alpha 2.0 to go along with it. It was some good stuff from the Usos. They've been really good on the microphone, and they play themselves very well on the side of tweener. Not necessarily babyface, not necessarily heel. They're them. That's basically what it is. They almost have gotten themselves to the point of being above face or heel at that side of everything. It's just whom are they going after next to go along with it? Are they babyface or are they heel, or are they just whatever to go along with it? Jimmy Uso does get the victory in the end with a very, very good looking super kick on Chad Gable. They cut a promo after the match on the on Sheamus and Cesaro, and yeah, again, some good stuff here. I did rather enjoy this one, and I thought it came off rather good. So up next, actually right before the main event, you had Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn backstage. They were talking about their match with the New Day. Also, it's like how they're being left off of Survivor Series, everything in that sense, how they could help Team Smackdown. Basically playing off of everything that they have been going on from the few weeks beforehand. Doesn't, what is it? I guess in the terms of the news side of everything, doesn't look like they're going too like there might not be too much into it. I wasn't trying to read too much into it last week when they got sent home, and I think they were trying to do that. Like I said, I think I mentioned this, like this could be a kayfabe reason, or it could be a real reason too. I think this is leaning more towards it was a kayfabe reason behind it to set up for something later, and that these guys probably don't really have that much backstage heat as some people are thinking that they have on that side of it. I left it open that, you know, because they had a history in the past with Ring of Honor, that people had said they were really difficult to work with, everything in that sense. So there was a chance that this was a real thing, but then, you know, they're here on SmackDown. They're not getting punished immediately, and it looks like they're probably going to lead some kind of prominent role in the Survivor Series 5-on-5 match. Their match with the New Day, I thought was really good stuff. They you know, they basically set up everything going into it, leading into eventually the Shield's music hitting. Yes, I know it sounds weird, the fact that their music would just play. Just go with it. It's wrestling. Well, it's just wrestling at that point. We'll just go with it. So the Shield appear and do their typical Shield stuff. They show up, and okay, they looked very weird in the aspect of having a half Raw or a half Raw shirt on their right side and a half Shield shirt on their left side. I think it was something Seth did last year as well, so they kind of just went with it with the Shield this year. They go along with it. It looked weird. It did. It looked weird last year, and it looked weird again this year. So this leads to all three Shield members surrounding the ring. It looks like they're about to get in, and right as they're about to get in, because even Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens showed up, and they're on on both sides of the New Day, and then they just bail, and they just bail, leading to the brawl starting with the New Day and the Shield. So this is where everything goes completely. Basically completely almost like what they'd done with the Smackdown invasion. This was Raw's variation of the invasion, with the exception of the fact that they don't just go backstage and do everything. A lot of it happens inside the ring, some of it happens backstage. People are showing up in many different directions in some way, shape, or form. So first up, the Usos come out to help out the New Day. Which actually kind of makes sense because they had, you know, shown a lot of respect towards the New Day, everything in that sense. So it makes a lot of sense for them to come in. Then Sheamus and Cesaro come in from the opposite side, like the same side of the arena, but the opposite direction of the Shield. So they come in through the crowd, and they start brawling inside there. On that side of everything, and then so that it kind of evens up everything. So you have the six-man tag and the tag team title holders going and brawling inside the ring. Then they cut backstage. Alicia Fox is leading everybody from Raw. So they had Nia Jax, Alexa Bliss. So you had all five members of the team. So like I said, Nia Jax. You had Sasha, you had Bayley in there, Asuka in there, and then Alexa Bliss was in there. They go to the women's locker room, charge in, and just lay waste to everybody. Even to the, leading out, all of them lying. Eventually, all five members of Team Raw surround Charlotte. And then Alexa Bliss just knocks her out with a big forearm. So kind of playing off of the aspect of Alexa Bliss getting the final hit in on the women's champion, as all members of Team Raw on the women's side just stare down at her as they cut back out to the arena where more people from Raw showing, like so Finn shows up, Samoa Joe shows up, I forget who else shows up during this portion of it, which eventually leads Shane to lead the rest of SmackDown to come down to the arena. Come into the arena area, and they're all brawling. All of a sudden you hear in the background, because they don't catch Kurt coming out yet. They don't catch Kurt coming out, and all of a sudden he just like they cut to Kurt, and then he just looks back, and then Braun's music hits and Braun comes out. So you can play kayfabe reason that Braun basically just took everybody else out backstage and just like, yep, I'm gonna come right out, just like that. I like how Braun just looks at Kurt. Kurt just nods, and then Braun just takes out everybody in his path. Like he lays waste to Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder and a couple other people. Eventually, Raw itself had taken complete control, and all three members of the Shield have control of Shane, and they kind of, you know, they're leading him around the ring, everything in that sense. Which just leads them to laying waste to Kurt, not Kurt, but Shane McMahon. They triple powerbomb him, and then they pick him back up for an angle slam. This was the one weird thing, is like Braun's in the ring. Why was he not doing a running power slam to Shane? It felt weird, because what they did to finish it off was a second triple powerbomb to finish off everything. Really, really good brawl. I liked how they made it feel. They made it feel different, in the sense that they made it feel different from the one that they did from when SmackDown came to Raw. Because SmackDown, all the guys just came in from the arena, and then they went backstage. And that's where everything happened. And then they brought Kurt out. Here, it was happening in multiple different areas, like different times when people are coming in on both sides, and it also kind of works on the factor that they waited to do this to go along with it. It wasn't just like a tit for tat thing and only happened 1 week. No, you were kind of like anticipating this to happen at some point in time, and here it is for the go home. I thought this was good stuff. I thought this was really good stuff to finish off the show, leading into the Survivor Series pay-per-view. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I got for SmackDown this week. Yeah, like I said, that's pretty much all I have for SmackDown. It'll be an interesting one going into Survivor Series. It's looking like an extremely better card than it was initially. Not saying it was bad beforehand, but it looks a lot more intriguing now than it did, say, a couple weeks ago. We'll just leave it at that on that side of everything. So, with that being said, everybody, I thank you for everybody who tuned in. I thank you guys for watching, and have a great rest of your day.